G'day, mate. 40 here. So, Joe Biden is being sworn in as the new president of the United States. And a lot of people are probably feeling a great deal of frustration if you're on the right, as I am. And that reminds me of an intense frustration that I've experienced over the past couple of weeks. I bought these Skeecher shoes, the most comfortable shoes ever. All right? Skechers, most comfortable shoes ever, and they're wonderful. And what's so frustrating is that my jeans keep slipping into the heel of my shoes, and like every time I take a step, there's kind of a pull. And I've tried wearing like 3 pairs of socks. I've tried like buying heel inserts that I put to the back of on the heel of my Skeecher shoes. Like, I love walking, and this has totally ruined the joy of walking. These are not gay flowers, mate. These are Ricola. How do you think I do these high quality streams? Hour after hour. You know, my throat going dry, perhaps. I just pop a sugar-free Ricola. It's kosher. It's like kosher candy, mate. It's the best. Believe me, you won't regret it. Okay. So, my bloody jeans keep tucking into the back of my Skeechers, and it's frustrating because Skeechers is the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. Nothing like some refreshing crystal light orange. So I was just going nuts with it today, and I finally, I Googled the problem, and I don't want to take my jeans to a tailor to raise the hem. So I tried putting a safety pin. I dug through my stuff, came up with some safety pins, and I tried safety pinning the back of my pants up so that they wouldn't tuck into my Skeechers, and that worked for about 5 or 10 minutes. But you know, how's that going to work for an hour-long stroll stream? It's not going to work. So I bought some safety pins on Amazon, and I'm an easygoing, happy guy. I can deal with anything except frustration. And frustration can drive me around the bend. Here I got these comfortable shoes, and my bloody jeans just keep riding up into the heel of my shoes. So I'm trying all these different ways to get over the problem. And then I just got so mad about 20 minutes ago. I just looked up frustration online. Like, what are the causes of frustration? And of course, it's like expectations unfulfilled. That's one of the causes. It can act as a spur to improve our performance. It can be a sign, a prompt, a direction of underlying anger issues. But yeah, what are the causes of frustration? That's what I was looking up today. And so common roots of frustration, fear, and pain. 3 ways to get to the roots. Okay, some people become angry as a fearful reaction to uncertainty. So it says to deal with frustration, we can't always choose what happens to us. We can choose how to respond. Frustrating moments, choose to dwell on the positive. Frustration is a result of unmet expectations. Make sure your expectations are realistic and show grace if your expectations are not fulfilled. So I think most people watching this stream expected Donald Trump to win the presidency for a second term, and that has not happened. It's now the Joe Biden administration. So I then looked at some videos on frustration, and they said try to find the positive. So here's the positive with my frustrating situation with my jeans riding into the back of my Skeechers. I decided, okay, my jeans need a good soak. So I took off my jeans, and then I looked at my belt. I've had my belt for a couple of years or so, and it's really old and worn. I just threw away my old belt, and I pulled out my new belt, gave my jeans a good soak, put on some new jeans. Then I thought, maybe same type of jeans, but maybe the way that they'll interact with my Skeechers will be different. And I went down, Skeechers, Skechers, Skeechers. Skechers, men's shoes. So just put on a new pair of jeans, the same type of jeans, but just a different pair. And I didn't have that problem. I was able to walk down the street without frustration. So look at the bright side. I knew I needed to wash my old jeans. I threw away my old worn belt, put in a nice snazzy black belt. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this beautiful belt here. All right, same jeans, but new pair. And that's what we got to do. We got to use frustration as a spur to creativity. That's what I learned. That sometimes frustration can improve our performance because it prevents us from doing the same old thing. And there was this great line I heard: just because you don't like it does not mean it's not good for you. I love that. Just because you don't like it does not mean it is not good for you. So just because you don't like this dream does not mean it's not good for you. So frustration forces us to think differently, try alternatives. Like it's the grit, it's the pebble in the shoe that can spur us to greater creativity and to higher levels of performance. I like that. So it forces you to get out of your old familiar ways of doing things. So if you want to get a new car, usually you need to sell or get rid of your old car first. If you want to start a new life, it might mean you need to let go of some people in your old life. You may need to give up your dream of being a full-time professional poet or live streamer in exchange for taking a job as an insurance adjuster and getting married and having kids, right? So for every dream that you fulfill, it often means you have to let go of some old dream, right? Every time a man gets married, he lets go of his dream of having a James Bond type sex life. So Joe Biden is president, and just because we don't like it does not mean it's not good for us. Like, there may be all sorts of benefits with Joe Biden as president. Maybe Donald Trump took up way too much of our mental space. Maybe with Joe Biden as president, we'll have much more time. Yeah. And maybe even with Kamala Harris, all right, maybe it will act as a spur so that we drop some old habits and old people from our life. We pick up some new habits, new crowd, new people, new hobbies, new perspectives, right? So just because we don't like the Biden-Harris administration does not mean it's not good for us, does not mean that we can't find some benefits. So have you heard about the Corn concert? So it's a series of solo piano improvisations by Keith Jarrett at the Opera House in Cologne, January 24, 1975. It is the best-selling solo album in jazz history, the best-selling piano album as well, with sales of more than 3.5 million. And so this concert was organized by the 17-year-old girl, Vera Brandes. And at Keith Jarrett's request, they brought this Bösendorfer 290 Imperial Concert Grand Piano. That's what they selected, but there was some confusion by the staff, and they found a different piano, a much smaller one, and placed it on stage. And so Keith Jarrett shows up after a long drive. It's late in the afternoon. He's tired after an exhausting drive from Zurich, Switzerland, where he'd performed a few days earlier. He's not slept well in a few nights. He was in pain from back problems. He had to wear a back brace. And he tries out this substandard piano, and he learns he doesn't like it. And he learns that a replacement instrument is not available, so he refuses to play. And this 17-year-old girl, Vera Brandes, is standing, he goes out into his car, and the 17-year-old girl goes out into the rain, all right, in Cologne, Germany, cold rain in Cologne, Germany, and pleads with him that they'll get a tuner and they'll work on the piano. And so finally, he feels bad. The 17-year-old girl is pleading with him, and so he agrees to play. But the piano is tinny and thin in the upper registers. It's weak in the bass register. The pedals don't work properly. So as a result, he had to completely change the way he played. He stayed away from a lot of the upper register and lower registers. He used ostinatos and rolling left-hand rhythmic figures to try to give the effect of stronger bass notes, and he concentrated his playing in the middle portion of the keyboard. So he played the way he did precisely because it was not a good piano. Because he did not love the sound of it, he had to find another way to get the most out of it. And it ended up being this massive smash, and he never would have been able to come up with this level of performance if he wasn't dealing with a piano that he hated. He wasn't dealing with a substandard piano. So just because we don't like something does not mean it's not good for us. Just because we don't like the Biden administration does not mean that we can't find elements of it that are going to enhance our life. And as for Keith Jarrett, he cannot play the piano anymore, or it's unlikely he'll ever again perform in public because of health issues. So the last time he performed in public was Carnegie Hall in 2017, several weeks into the Bush administration. And he opened his performance with an indignant speech on the Trump administration. And he kept on spooling all this relentless commentary throughout the concert. And he ended by thanking the audience for bringing him to tears. That's the last time he's performed publicly, and unlikely he will ever perform again. He had a stroke in February 2018, and then further strokes. He's partially paralyzed, but his best-selling concert was in Cologne, Germany, on a piano that he hated. He had to be cajoled and pled with to perform on this piano he absolutely hated, but because he couldn't really use the upper registers or the lower registers of the piano and the pedals sucked, he had to improvise an entirely new performance, which turned out to be a triumph. The pen and paper on the desk makes me think that Luke has a much higher IQ than he admits to. Yeah, so I was just journaling about my frustration today. Like, I tend to have a fairly short fuse. I don't do well with frustration. I tend to get quite angry. So I looked it up. Frustration is the result of unmet expectations. Anger flares up. I can't even read my own writing. So frustration leads to breakthroughs. Oh, and one of the solutions, there's one video I found on 12 ways to deal with frustration, and one of them was to track your progress. So one was to breathe, one was to track your progress, another was to hang out with positive people, develop a positive attitude. But frustration can absolutely be a spur to take you to high levels of creativity, to achievements that you could not otherwise achieve, because it gets you out of your habitual patterns. So just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not good for you. And just because we don't like the Biden-Harris administration does not mean it can't be good for us.